Imagine a world where the greatest empires, the mighty, untouchable, and seemingly eternal, suddenly crumbled to dust. What if I told you that the true reason behind their fall wasn't just invaders, plagues, or bad luck? What if the real culprit was something far darker, something hiding inside these empires themselves? Stay tuned, because the shocking truth behind the fall of ancient empires will change the way you see history forever. Today, we're diving into the mystery of history's greatest collapses, from the Roman Empire to the Aztecs to the Maya. Each of these civilizations rose to unmatched heights, only to fall apart. But what if I told you the real reason they crumbled wasn't what you've been taught in textbooks? Let's start with the one we all know, the Roman Empire. The stories we've all heard: barbarians storming the gates, Rome falls. But here's the twist you might not have heard. Rome didn't just fall because of outside forces. Rome fell because of what was happening inside. At its peak, Rome was unstoppable, stretching across 3 continents, but over time, cracks began to form within the empire. What took down the mighty Romans wasn't a single enemy, but decades of decay, corruption, political instability, and economic decline ate away at the empire from within. The Roman Empire became a playground for greedy emperors, while the military weakened and the economy spiraled into disaster. It wasn't one blow that brought them down, it was years of mismanagement, power struggles, and a refusal to adapt to changing times. Does this sound familiar? The same cycle of corruption, instability, and internal collapse that destroyed Rome can still be seen in societies today. The lesson here is clear. A nation that fails to adapt from within is doomed to crumble. Now, let's shift to a civilization across the ocean, the Aztec Empire. When the Spanish arrived, they found a thriving, powerful civilization led by Emperor Moctezuma II. But what you might not know is that the Aztecs weren't as invincible as they thought. The Aztecs ruled with fear, enforcing brutal tribute systems and practicing human sacrifices. This created a lot of enemies, and when the Spanish came, they didn't come alone. Cortés had alliances with the Aztecs' own rivals. But here's the real shocker. The Aztecs thought the Spanish were gods. They were so overconfident in their belief of divine prophecy that they made deadly mistakes, believing they could not be defeated. And while they waited for the Spanish to prove themselves, their enemies attacked, and their empire crumbled in a matter of months. Let's now turn to the Maya Civilization, one of the most advanced societies of its time. Their cities were architectural marvels, and their knowledge of astronomy was ahead of its time. But by the time the Spanish arrived, their empire had already collapsed. So, what happened? Was it foreign invaders? Not at all. The Maya didn't fall to an outside force. They fell because of their own actions. They suffered a catastrophic environmental collapse. Overfarming, deforestation, and unsustainable practices drained their resources. The very environment they depended on for survival was destroyed by their own hands. By the time the Spanish showed up, the Maya civilization was already in ruins. The collapse wasn't external, it was self-inflicted. And the question is, could they have avoided it? Could they have adapted in time to survive? So what's the secret behind all of these falls? It wasn't just invaders, it wasn't bad luck, and it wasn't a string of unfortunate events. The shocking truth is that all of these empires shared one common flaw. They couldn't adapt fast enough to survive. Rome, with its political corruption and internal struggles, couldn't evolve its governance to meet the changing demands of its people. The Aztecs, full of overconfidence and bound by their rigid beliefs, couldn't adjust their strategies in the face of a new threat. And the Maya, blinded by their own achievements, couldn't adapt to their changing environment, ultimately leading to their environmental collapse. The rise and fall of these great empires teach us one profound lesson: adapt or perish. Stagnation is death. Even the most powerful civilizations can crumble if they forget to evolve. If they don't learn from their mistakes, or if they remain blind to the changes in the world around them, They are destined to fall, just like the Romans, the Aztecs, and the Maya. So the real question is this: are we learning from history? Are we looking at the mistakes of the past and adjusting our course? Or are we simply destined to repeat them? The fate of these empires wasn't sealed by fate or some external force. It was sealed by their failure to adapt.